Hello, good evening, Kyber Cave Productions family. I hope you're all doing well. I am here with our wonderful Commander Tony Negron, who is our guest host every now and then, and he is doing Van's spot tonight on the show. So, how are you, Tony?
Oh, I'm fine. As usual, I had about a day notice for, getting a message from Van and saying, "Hey, I might not be able to make it. Can you do the show for me?" And I said, "Okay, I will." And then I get a message like yesterday, "Oh, I can make it, but do you still want to do it?" So Van's
Yeah,
not here tonight. You guys are stuck with the old man.
I am happy to be stuck with this old man. Okay, so stop. Well, I just got back from VacaCon myself. VacaCon was literally down the street from me, and I just got back. Got to have lunch with dinner with John D. Michaels, who's been on our show before. He is an actor who was on Squid Game. And then made friends with a couple other people, and then we all had dinner together, and it was a lot of fun. But I literally got home probably 15 minutes before the show started, and I'm so glad I got everything ready ahead of time so that it wasn't like
Yeah,
um, a mess there. But hello, Alex Perez, who is a friend of the show. Hi, Alex. Say Wong, our
and
regulars are here.
yes, yeah. It's sure the same people. Hey, when I came on, she was just sitting there looking off into space, going, "What am I doing?" I just got here. And then we talked a little bit. I gave her a compliment, which she can share or not share, but that's pretty much how I feel.
He called me the nerd goddess. And it was really, really sweet. And I like would probably if I didn't already have blush on, you'd see me blush. So
Right. Well, that's because everybody that's on the show are mostly males, and I can tell you right now, they're all looking at the screen and they're not looking at me.
oh all right. So next in our show, I'm like trying not to get all embarrassed and like blush. We have our nerdy news segment, you guys. So here on the nerdy news, we talk about some fun stuff. There's my music. I forgot to click on it. I thought I was clicking on it. I wasn't clicking very well. So first on the nerdy news, guys, is that Fortnite has a new Star Wars collab coming May 3rd. That will be like a big, huge celebration for May the 4th. And hi, Duran Duran. So if you guys like Fortnite, check it out. I think part of it looks kind of fun. I'm not into Fortnite, but I know a lot of people are.
No, I'm not either.
So I'm kind of like, check it out, have fun, I guess. Next is the new Lego Star Wars Ultimate Collector Series TIE Interceptor revealed. It looks pretty epic.
That's pretty awesome. I have to say that. I'd love that on my desk.
Yeah, I would be so scared to drop it. Like
Uh,
I've seen, Death Star people put it together and then they go to move and they drop it and it's like, oh.
yeah, I'd have to put it high to keep my granddaughters away from it.
So if you guys would like to check out those nerdy news stories, I'm putting the links in the chat right now. But if you're watching the upload, they are in the description below. So that is your nerdy news for today, which is, always fun. I always look for, usually it's fun, lighthearted stuff. Every now and then, like when Ray Stevenson passed, it'll be a little bit more serious. But it just depends on how that goes.
Well,
All right.
it was good, not much, but let's, yeah, I mean, I
I always do fun little stories.
you
Oh,
always do well with it.
thank you very much. Next, guys, we have James Kaiser on our show, who's a producer for Flow of the show. He himself is a flow artist, and every week he goes out and finds a flow for us to feature. And this week is Charred Fool, who's been a flow feature before. So please enjoy his video. It would have been great if I hadn't rendered it muted. So I'm going to fix it during the interview, and I'll play it for you guys after the interview.
All right.
Hi,
Okay, so
Van.
no,
Yeah, the flow of the show will be after. But you have fans here in the chat. He is on his way to his other job, or he's at it. I'm not 100% certain at this moment.
hey, Van.
Yeah, hello, Meg Burger. How are you? Good to see your name there.
All right.
Goodness gracious, hang on, I just lost
Another old guy
there
like
we
me,
go.
Mike.
Yeah,
Him.
another old guy just like you, right? Goodness gracious. Being old, y'all, is not an insult bad thing. I want to make sure everyone knows that. Everyone will
Oh
say like,
no,
"Oh, you're old."
it's definitely I call it. I just recently got my ears pierced, so my next thing is tattoos
Ooh,
when I turn 70. So
that'll be
yeah, old doesn't
fun.
mean dead. Yeah,
No,
I
not at
haven't
all.
figured out how to get them in and out, so I still need my wife to get them in and out. And I'm afraid to go in the pool. I'm afraid to go in the swimming pool with them.
I could understand that. Definitely. All right. Well, guys, it's time we'll go ahead and bring our guest, and I'll fix flow the show during the interview. These guests are actually Saber Academy instructors from Mexico. So please welcome Martin Rios and Omar Saenz.
Hey, folks, good to see you. Hey, so usually they ask me to come on when we have other schools on, and there's a reason for it because those of you know me, I have Aiken Saber Academy, and when I'm on, I'm going to be a little bit more technical and go into a little bit more detail with the schools. Number one, there's so much good lightsaber combat stuff coming out of Mexico right now. It's all over TikTok, and I'm seeing it. And I just want to know more. But the second thing is that it's important that we get more schools around the world. I think both of you are in our international group, and we're just like little pinpricks of light around the world. But you guys down in Mexico are really making things happen. So I'm honored to have you here. So I'm just going to ask you. I'm going to ask you questions. They're going to be the audience. I'm sorry if they get a little technical, but I want to know as much about these guys as I possibly can from my point of view, because I think if you listen to what they say, I think you'll understand that you too can form groups and schools, and we need more groups and schools throughout the world that are doing stuff with lightsabers. All right, so guys, well, welcome aboard. And Martin, we've talked before, have we not? I think I brought you into the international group. Okay, so let's go with the first question. Start with Martin. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves, where you guys grew up, because not even Americans don't know a lot about Mexico. What was your martial arts experience? I know a little bit about Martin. I don't know anything about Omar at all. And then finally, how did you transition from your martial art that you started with to then going into lightsaber? I mean, there are lots of martial artists and they don't go on lightsaber, but you guys have made that transition.
Yes, we have. So, hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here with you down in Mexico. We are in this moment in San Luis Potosí. Let me start, and then
you go first, and then
So, I was born in Reynosa, Tamaulipas, in the border between Mexico and the States. Then I moved to another town here in the state, in San Luis Potosí, and later to another one in the state of Guanajuato. And when I started the university, I came to San Luis Potosí one more time. Then I moved to France, and I live also in Spain. What am I telling you? It's because I started training Taekwondo when I was 3 years old. And because of the different changes of city, I had to start over with another martial art. All the time for me, it was Taekwondo, but they were like different branches of the same. So it was to start over and over. And well, that was a little bit tough, but in the end, I think that taught me that every martial art is connected. We're teaching the same in different ways. We are teaching how to move the body, how to think, how to react to different actions. So in this moment, I am a black belt in Taekwondo, and I have also studied Jiu-Jitsu for over 2 years. I have studied box. I have been practicing kickboxing, and I think that's it. Then I started practicing with some friends. We created a group of a guy who was a karateka, a guy who was from the judo school, me and some other guys. We started fighting with knife. It was kind of a club. It was pretty interesting, and that took me to start practicing with katanas. I took many courses. I have taken many courses during these years. In this moment, I am practicing Yaido, Kenjutsu, and this very famous martial art called Tenshin Ryu from Japan. So
Wow,
this,
wow, that's a lot.
yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Every day in the morning, I wake up, I take out my sword, sometimes my lightsaber, sometimes my what is the name of the medieval one?
The feather.
The feather,
Yeah.
and I do some functional work, and then my practices. This is
Wow.
like what I do in the morning.
Right. So your students are pretty lucky to have a fully trained. So then how did you go? Well, let's let Omar, let's give us, Omar, why don't you give us a little bit about your history?
Yeah. Well, I lived here in San Luis Potosí my whole life. Like I've been to other places around Mexico, even into the States. But the thing is that I couldn't practice any martial art until very recent, like not in school. So I started studying like archery, and
Okay. That's a
yeah,
martial art.
yeah, that's I saw it like a martial art, and I started like for fun, and ended up studying like 10 years. Yeah, I gave it like 10 years of my life to to the archery, and went into competitions, national and internationals. Actually,
Wow.
you can find me like in the rankings because I've been into international competitions, so they rank you. Here in Mexico, it's really tough to be in the archery like circle because we're actually like very good at it, but that helped me a lot to understand like how to move. I also I also train like for running, like marathons and all that kind of stuff.
Right. So you're a general all around athlete,
Yeah, like
right?
my
Okay.
whole life I trained for competitions, not just like for fun. So I took a lot of that work in from archery, and actually started developing interest in HEMA. So
Okay.
I trained HEMA like 7 years. Like here in Mexico, I didn't knew about a lot of options where I could study, but then I started like meeting people and getting more interested on it. And also I love I'm an investigator, and I'm an anthropologist, so I love reading, and I read like thousands of books, like HEMA books,
Right.
and went into putting it into practice
Yeah.
because
And you'll find that there aren't a lot of HEMA schools. I know a couple, but mostly they're organizations of people who train themselves and they get to pretty high levels, but it's not like Europe where there are tons of HEMA schools that are available that you can go to. But the one thing you said, and I saw this in the research, is you're an anthropologist. Tell the audience what you did your dissertation in. So he has a what's your degree? It's a master's or a doctorate,
yeah,
right?
I did I have it's in publishing, like in the process of being published, but
Right.
the thing with my work was around lightsaber. Actually, it was
So
about,
you did a thesis on lightsabers.
yeah, about body, and one thing that I like to call, and we in the anthropologists, we try to dissolve that thinking about there's the mind and the body. I think they're connected, and there's no way like we can separate them. So as we learn like with our bodies, and that affects like the way we learn. So it's important to recognize through our body the world, and through our mind, like we can teach our body to do things.
Oh yeah, fit body, clear mind. I
Yeah.
mean, that's certainly got to be my motto as I get into old age. So just to continue on, Martin. So you are a trained martial artist, and then at some point you picked up a lightsaber. And I didn't pick my first one up till close to 2018. So for us, I haven't been doing this a long time, even though I was a college saber fencer. So what made you go from Kenjutsu and Kendo and Jujitsu to now picking up a lightsaber?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. We were during the pandemic, and I was, well, doing nothing at home, like checking Facebook, Instagram at the time, and I started to see that there were that there were lightsaber academies here in Mexico, and I was like, dude, that sounds interesting, because it is something that everyone could do. Everyone can go to a lightsaber class, pick up a lightsaber, and start welding this saber. It is something that everyone could do, and I was like, that sounds pretty interesting. So I contacted one of the guys. They told me, yeah, sure, you can open your academy, blah 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 blah. And I was thinking, and I said, I remember Omar from high school, because I was a teacher. I was teaching French in the school when he was in high school, and I remembered that he was very good at HEMA at that time. So I sent him a message and I told him, like, Omar, what about teaching lightsaber fencing? Omar, what do you say?
Yeah. First, I was like, "What lightsaber?" Like, I couldn't figure out like there was an actual sport with lightsabers. Like, I at that time I didn't know like that there were combat lightsabers, but I was like, some kind of combat. Like, do we have anything to that resembles a lightsaber? And Martin was like, "Yeah, dude, like there's lightsabers actually for combat." And I was, and he showed me like videos and that kind of stuff. And I was like, "Yeah, totally, we can do this. Like we can use all the him experience, but not just the him experience." That's a beautiful thing, and that's a thing we try to do in our academy. Is that we're not doing HEMA with a lightsaber. Like we know that the lightsaber is a different kind of weapon that has different like specifications. So we treat it as like as a weapon and like an unique kind of weapon. So we
Well,
try to
exactly.
around that weapon.
So I'm going to ask you questions about your school, but you guys have figured out what the rest of us have figured out is that lightsabers are totally approachable by the audience. They may be scared to death of a broadsword or even a rapier or something like that. You take a rapier and you put a little nubbing on it, and it still looks like something that's dangerous. You hand somebody a lightsaber, and their eyes light up, and there's growth here. There's a lot more potential than people give it credit to. So what I want to do is I want to go into your school, because first of all, where's the school? What's the name of the school?
The name is La Resistance.
Resistance. And La Resistance. Why'd you pick that name? Just out of Star Wars?
As I am a French teacher, I was very connected to the language. And for me, the inspiration of the word resistance, it was a visit that I had to a tower in the south of France. I found that there was a group of people who were held in this tower, and in one of the walls it was written "resistir."
Oh, wow. Wow.
So
The French are always resisting something.
yeah,
They were resisting the aristocrats, and then they were resisting the Germans, and then and on and on and on. They have they really are something. That's a great name. That's a great story. So what I wanted to ask you is that what are your ages that you allow there? So you formed a school. How many students do you have?
Well,
Because your following is big online.
yeah. By the moment, we are having around 15 students.
That's about the
Ages
same
from, Mhm.
same size as my school.
All right. All right. Ages from 14, who is the youngest in this
Yeah.
moment?
13 maybe.
No, 14. He's 14.
No.
And yeah,
Yeah.
he started when he
Yeah.
was 13. Yeah, you're right. And the oldest, I think, maybe like in her 50s, I think.
Yeah.
It sounds exactly like my school. The youngest is 14. That is the minimum age. And then right now, the other oldest is 57.
Mhm.
Now, I've had students in their 70s, and I had one guy who was 80.
Mhm.
Then his hips gave out, so he couldn't do this anymore. So that's good. Your school is about the same size as mine. Do you have any trouble getting females in? That's been my big problem.
I would say no, because we train with some females, but the truth is that here, at least in San Luis, the public in general are males in general.
That's pretty standard. What kind of facility you're in? Are you in a dojo, your own facility, something different?
We are renting a CrossFit box. This is what we have for
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're renting, like I'm in a city recreation, so I'm a city program. I don't have to charge much. If you're renting, what's your fee like? And this is always a question that comes up in the international group. What do you charge? So if you go to Ludo Sport, they're not cheap. They're a few $100s for so many months. Most people are charging somewhere in the order of $25 to $50 US dollars.
Yeah, we are starting at $23.
Yeah. Around
And
$23.
the highest is $35 because we have different
Like
schedules.
monthly.
Mhm.
So do you teach, how many days a week do you teach?
We teach twice a week, Saturday and Sunday, 2 hours every day. And after that, we have a HEMA class.
Oh, wow. So your HEMA class is totally separate from your lightsaber class. Totally different group of students?
Even we have a different name for the HEMA group.
Right. So there's a school up in Columbus, Ohio, I believe, and they were both lightsaber and HEMA as well. And it's I think they've mostly switched to HEMA now that they had more students coming in on that. What do you so you're just in one location. What do you actually teach? So you don't do HEMA. Are you doing like a style we would recognize here in the United States? So in the United States, the two biggest styles are Lightspeed, which is mostly West Coast, Saber Legion, which is all over. That's your puppy. I have my puppies locked up. Or you doing something different? Like I have my own system. So my system is a hybrid of what they do in Europe. But then there's the French fighting system. There's a system in Britain that the Silver Sabers. Do you guys have your own system, or are you teaching some combination of it?
Yeah, actually, we train like a lot of those systems, like the French style. We actually train it like pretty standard, but we we decided like we need our own style and our own system for competitions, like aiming to make like a Mexican style. Yeah, so
That's smart. So is your system is like it's standardized throughout Mexico with the other schools and the other organizations?
wouldn't say like standardized, but yeah, we try to get in contact with a lot of people around Mexico, and we have like meetings under this system of rules, and we try to make it work. Like also, we're pushing forward like to create a strong league, like the Mexican league from Lightsaber. And yeah, we try to have a standard where all can meet, and it has a little bit of the HEMA rules, but also a little bit of some other styles like used commonly in the lightsaber. But yeah,
Right. So are you using so they're basically three types of blades, right? There are the thinner, whippier blades used by Lightspeed. And so Lightspeed's very fast. It's a lot like Olympic Saber. There's the really heavy, thicker blades like Saber Legion uses. And when you use those, you have to have really a lot of armor to be protective. So, and then there's the mid-grade blades that are used mostly in Europe. That's what I use as well. What are you guys using? And that, because whatever you're using, that'll tell me kind of what style you're doing.
Yeah, well, you have to think of the story of Mexico. We have a lot of boxers. We have people in the UFC now. So we are tough in general.
Right,
So
right. Oh, absolutely.
Mexicans
Yeah.
in general, we like
they like to go hard. So
Uh-huh.
so yeah, we use the thickest one in the market. Also, we need armor, like for obvious reasons, but we try to make a kind of style of lightsaber that we can go like pretty fast, but not hard, so you get injured. Because
Right,
the thing,
controlled.
yeah, like the thing here is what we teach control like every class. We do it like there's no excuse from you're not getting excuse from the control. But
Right.
and we,
So in your style, so if you're a little bit like the French style, they have spinning attacks and they can jump. And if they could somersault, they would somersault. They have what's called a right away, or they have priority. Is your system like that, or is your system more like Saber Legion, first hit scores?
Okay, let's say that it is not similar to Saber Legion, and that we know how to fight the French one because
yeah,
last year I translated all the manual from the French league because they want. Well, I asked them right. I asked them to have a connection to us to Mexico. So we have now the manual in Spanish, and we are practicing in order to be able to compete in their league. They said yes, they have no problem with us going to France and fighting in the international tournament because we know how to follow the rules with this. What was the name of it? That when I take the
yeah,
sword.
the advantage, like
Well, yeah,
the
rules,
priority.
the priority. That is
Yeah.
the word.
Priority. Right.
We know how to fight it.
You know,
In fact, in the last year in September, we gave a course on how to fight this system, and we could be like connected to TSL, but the truth is that it is very different. TSL, they are very fast. They
yeah.
do very fancy moves. It is so cool to watch.
Yeah, but also, and it's very practical.
It is.
Like we recognize that, but we try to get out of the exchange like the the safest that you can. So, for example, if we go and get a hit, we try to not get hit by my opponent. So it's
Right.
not like you could just hit him first, and then he will bash you in the head, and you will be fine. Like we
Yeah,
actually,
well, I'm like you guys. I mean, we do the same system. I don't quite follow the French rules, but we have priority, and you have arming. Arming for the French is bringing the entire saber behind them. They have salvos. They don't use the thicker blades, but the thicker blades are pretty indestructible. It's a heck of a lot cheaper not to break those. But if that's the set that you're doing, that's pretty cool. There's another league in France, the Saber Sport League. You guys know about that?
I had never heard about them.
So the Saber Sport League is mostly two-handed style. It's fast. It's not HEMA, but it's mostly a two-handed style. And the blade, instead of arming, has to go 90 degrees, and it has to come back, and then you can actually have to see it. So it's a totally different thing. That's what the Silver Sabers do, something similar to that in England. Here in the United States, Terra Prime Light Armory, if you guys know them, they're doing your style. So, I mean, you don't have to go all the way to France. You can just hook up with them here in the States and, co-join into one bigger organization or something like that. I know Chad Ironmonger would be happy to see you. So that is the style that you are now teaching as the standard down in Mexico, correct?
Kind of.
Yeah, I think that's
yeah.
and also answering the question that was like in the comments about if we fight other schools. Yeah, of course. We know
Alex.
Alex. We had like the opportunity to fight with him, but we actually fought like a lot of schools around Mexico. Yeah, and the thing
So
is that we are like in the middle of Mexico, so we have like that's like an advantage, so we can move around Mexico more.
right. So when you fight them, do you use a different rule set? Do you use the French rule set? Which do you use?
I have the Mexican rules.
Yeah.
They are very, very easy. Let's explain them.
Okay.
We're fighting. There is no priority. Okay. If I wanna go and try to hit you on the arm or leg, I will receive 1 point if you don't hit me back. Okay.
Okay.
So if
that's different.
If I cut you,
Yeah, like if you caught me and I hit you like in the same time, like more or less like the HEMA rules. Like if I hit you like same time, there's no point because you were taking too much risk to get your point. So you're not really interested in your life. So you gotta preserve it. Like you gotta know how to move and how to hit without getting hit. So the thing is that if you can block the movement, like there's the point is for you, and we don't consider like all the targets the same, because it's not the same that you get hit in one hand that in the head.
Right. So
actually we are more or less like agreed on banning the hands, because if you hit the hands, like there are very tiny bones around there, and could easily get broken.
Well, you're using those heavy blades. So
It's
a good reason not to hit the hands. We allow that, but we use 2mm blades, so it's a whole different thing. That's pretty smart. That's safety.
Yeah, so we do it actually for safety, and then if you hit arms or legs, you get 1 point. Like in the torso, you get 2 points, and in the head, 3 points.
That's pretty standard as far as it's very difficult to get in.
Yeah.
For those that are non-fighters, getting inside the arms or the legs is a difficult thing to do in any of the kind of lightsaber sports. It's just harder. And so a head hit usually counts in all of the different lightsaber sports as more points. And then the torso hit is also counts as more points. What they're doing that's unique is if you strike a hit, but then get hit, you're not getting that point. And that's a little unusual. That's a little bit different than I've seen with anybody else. Usually in Saber Legion, if you hit and then the other guy comes after, you still get the point.
Yeah, here we try to, like, if you got a difference in the time of hitting, like if I hit you and then it passes like 1 second, like 1 full second, and then you hit me, you're out of time. So
you have to have good referees.
The point is fine, but it's more like in the spirit of not hit people after you're dead. So when they hit you and they got the points, like you should acknowledge the point and like continue the fight. Like you got other opportunities to keep fighting, but like we do it so you acknowledge the exchange.
I can tell you from my perspective, I would love my students to be trained by you two guys. I mean, there's between the two of you, there's a ton of experience. And I know they would be in great hands. And this is why we need more schools as opposed to just organizations, because you have two master instructors here that are going to teach safety. So when a new student comes to your place, what's like a basic safety kit for them? Or do you provide all the gear?
Okay.
Okay, well, in this case, we have a plan for new students. But before answering that, there is a comment here that says, is there ever a continuous exchange? We can do it. We can play continuously. In fact, if you check our YouTube channel, you will find some videos where we have this type of fighting. Talking about the national tournaments, we have to stop. Well, the referee is going to call stop after he sees a hit. When he sees something, he says stop. In the rules that we have now in Mexico,
We do it more like kind of exercise where you learn like not to get too tired, and also that every point like matters. So you gotta defend and address the hits that the other person is throwing at you, but also you have to do something by yourself. So you gotta keep like hitting, not just be standing there and waiting for get hit.
The Saber Legion has a Unity set, but Saber Light Knights, which are in the United States and they're on the East Coast where I am, they have a continuous fighting system. They use 3 to 4 judges and then basically add up the scores afterwards. And we did a competition up there. It was probably one of the safest and most fun competitions because it was continuous, but it was continuous and safe. And they just lowered down. The time was, I think, 2 minutes of continuous fighting. And so nobody got hurt. Nobody came close to being hurt. Four line judges that are giving scores, and then 1 referee for safety. So, you know, if you ever wanted to develop a continuous set and you want to maybe look at some of the others, you can certainly look at Saber Light Knights, or you can look at Saber Legion's Unity, where they've made some changes to theirs, or you can look at our system at Aiken, which is not continuous, but it's near continuous. With the students, so I just want to go back to
yeah, sure.
the student walks in my school, I have loaner equipment. Do you guys have loaner equipment?
Like we don't have like equipment like the armor, but
Right.
you have always like a lightsaber and
Right.
like kind of, I don't know how they call it, like the LARP swords, like the
Oh yeah, foam.
we use the foam ones,
Mhm.
so you don't get hit like as hard as it could. We also like are very serious about like going hard, so we try not to, we let them fight so they know like how does it feel, because people when arrive like they wanna fight. The very first thing they do when they pick up a lightsaber is like try to go and hit someone else. So
Right.
we don't deny them like this pleasure, but we do it like under very safe conditions. So you wouldn't need armor to fight in like when you're a beginner, but we encourage you to get the equipment. So when you have your equipment, like you can access like to higher sparrings, but we also like try to keep those like under control.
Right. So we do pretty much the same. I have loaner gloves and loaner fencing masks.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's taken me years to have enough of this equipment.
Mhm.
And you guys are lucky you have a studio. I have to pack up my truck every Friday. But like you, and I think it's a smart idea, is to let the student in their very first day have a fight with somebody, give them
Yeah.
some basic training, and then
Yeah.
I put a mask on them. You guys use foam. I also do foam. It depends on the student. If the student seems like they're a little awkward and maybe not very athletic and doesn't look like they're going to have control, then we're going to fight with foam weapons. So I think you guys are smart to go right to foam weapons. I do use the fencing mask because I want them to feel what it's like to get hit in the head. But they'll go up against myself or one of my other instructors, and we'll be fully armored, so they can't hurt us because the new guys. And if I don't think they're that safe, and they don't learn control over enough time that we've been working with them, and they refuse. Do you ever toss out a student that just plain refuses to be safe?
Mm,
Look, we hadn't made like the case, but surely if the case like come to us,
mhm.
like we wouldn't hesitate about that, because like the point in training lightsaber for us is like we all can have fun, like learn how to move our body. And the thing is that when you train with someone else, like he's letting you like his body, so you can train with him. So you gotta respect that, like by taking care of it. So, and also when you're putting like your equipment and fighting with another guy, like you're hoping that he's like interested in your welfare, like overall.
Yeah, and here we are adding this Japanese concept of uke and tori, and all this part of respect, right? Uke is letting you work, learning, using his body, and you as a tori, you are practicing. Then you change roles, and then you are uke, and the other one is story. So I think that when we are teaching this part, they get the spirit and they say, ah, yes, we are here to learn, we are here to improve. And the moment they take the first class, because we have like a special first class for the newcomers, they come, they do exercises with everyone, then they go apart with another teacher, and they learn how to make the different 8 cuts that we teach. And later they come back to the class, they continue doing whatever the other
Yeah.
guys are doing, and at the end they arrive to this sparring part, and they feel like, oh, I am part of it, I am not just someone
Yeah,
fighting, huh? I am.
yeah. We try to do that, like even though we have like the the ones that been studying like for a long time, and they know how to fence and a lot of things, like we try to make the group like together. So when a newcomer comes, like he knows that he's getting into something like a school that cares for him. And it's this question of being in a group, like it's very important. So but also we take the time to teach you like specific things, so like we're aware that you need to learn some things special for you, and we're getting you the attention that you need when you come and you don't know anything about saber, about combat, about any martial arts. So we're there for you, like so you can learn these things first, and you can also know that if one of your partners can help you with that, they'll surely go and help you.
So you must have senior students, right? People who have been around a while. Do you have a ranking system?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. When they arrive to the academy, they are called candidates. So they use the phone source. They use some from time to time a lightsaber that they can learn from us, and that's it. In 3 or 6 months, we invite them to take their first test, the first exam, and with this exam, they are going to have received their Kyber. Once they have the Kyber, they can wield now a lightsaber. This is the beginning
That's
for
pretty awesome.
this is the beginning for them. They will learn some Italian techniques, some Japanese techniques, and then when we feel they are good enough to take the next test, they are going to change their belt. They start with this white belt when they receive the Kyber, and then they move to a blue belt. We have the same colors as they do in Jiu-Jitsu. So it is
Okay.
white, blue,
Blue,
brown,
brown, I think.
before brown, purple, brown, and
Right.
then black. And well, within the time. Still, the oldest of our students, they are in this moment in a purple belt
Wow.
after 3 years.
Do you guys,
Mhm.
both of you, do you split like your class or teaching? I mean, you're lucky to have two instructors like you two. I had someone and who was equivalent to me, and then his wife got a job out of state, so he had to move. So now I'm using three instructors that I've raised up myself, but they're junior instructors. They don't have the life experience and the rest. But you have two older gentlemen in the two of you that are obviously both great instructors. How do you split your class between the two of you? Does one person take the junior people and one person the senior people? How do you do that?
Yeah, it depends on the class like we have prepared, but generally we try to the like our elder students, they also need to go back and check the basics. So we try to help them like to remember some basics, and that way they can go together and learn. And we also try to teach them how to teach, because we think like if you can teach something, you should really know it. So when they try to teach it, they learn a lot by trying to teach just the simplest of the moves. Like they go like, okay, so is this right? And they ask us, and we go like, yeah, that's okay. Do you have any questions? Like, no, okay, then go on, try to teach it. And we also supervise those exercise, so they're teaching like something that's right to the system. And also, yeah, there are some times when it's obviously like helpful to be to be like be two of us, and we there are some times that we need to separate the class, and yeah, I take the juniors, Martin takes the eldest, or vice versa. It's just a matter of what thing we are going to see, like if
Yeah, we've got probably 19, 20 students now. What I'm going to do is I have three junior instructors. They need to gain experience. I'm going to break the school into three parts. Each junior instructor is going to get so many students. They'll have 2 weeks to work with them, and then we're going to do a competition. So this is something we're going to do ourselves for the same reason, to give your leadership, because you guys are training leadership,
Mhm.
give them a chance to actually lead without me micromanaging them. I think it's impressive. Do you have forms or katas for your advancement?
We have prepared them. We have these caras with forms, but we haven't really applied them with the students because of the teaching we have been having. We prepare this for younger students, for kids, mostly.
yeah.
But until the moment, the youngest guys we have received, they were 12 and 13. So
Right.
we haven't really applied them.
Yeah.
The idea with the caras that we have, it is that each student can be able to create his or her own cara.
Oh,
And
wow.
like
That's different.
that, we have like the ideas that they have some in the manual. We have what they should be able to complete for each level. So applying those knowledges, they may know what to do and how to be creative. And creativity, in my opinion, is one of the things that we try to develop more on our students. So when
I have to ask this. Go
uh-huh,
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no,
I'm sorry.
don't worry. When there is the moment, for example, in the last national tournament, one of our instructors prepared a very beautiful kata, and he won the first prize. And also there was another of our students, and he did something great, something
Yeah.
very beautiful. Well, he didn't get any prize in this time, but maybe next year he will do it.
You guys definitely should be proud. I do have one quick question, because I think Van who sells lightsabers, would be aggravated at me if I didn't ask. What kind of lightsabers do you guys use? So I at mine are custom built. there's basically a flashlight and a hilt and a blade, and we use a 2 millimeter blade. And and in fact, to turn it on and off, you have to stick a pencil in one end to turn the flashlight on. And we found that to be indestructible. But every school does it a little bit differently where they get the lightsabers. There's a school close to me, and they get all of their lightsabers from LGT, and because they want the sound and they want to be able to change colors and all that. I don't, because I'm not handy and I don't want things to break. And if they do break, I want to be able to fix them. So down in Mexico, do you have the same access? Do you use the same kind of lightsabers? Do you get custom built, or do you buy production built?
Okay, around Mexico, it's very wide. Like people build their own lightsabers, and some other people like order from like
Saber Force.
all kind of stores like Saber Force, LGT. Uh, but we try like to when we start this, like we bought lightsabers like from one from each Mexican store, like almost like that, and we tried them, and we went hard of them, and some of them like died in the process. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and we reached to one like distributor provider, yeah, from and we they offer us to make our own brand of lightsabers, like with our
Oh,
names but with constructed parts, and we kind of went that way and use them and prove them to be like very resistant. That's the thing that we like about those, and we stick to them like for fighting. We found them to be like pretty good. We've been using. We have some lightsabers that have more than 2 years,
Mhm.
and they're not like looking like breaking like any time near. So
right. I still have some of my old lightsabers I started with, but they didn't hold up very well. I mean, buttons were breaking, and I started off with AAA batteries in them, and we've gotten away from that. But there are manufacturers that make pretty decent production lightsabers. I mean, resellers like, I'm going to say, Vire and Crimson Dawn here in the states that I know, they sell LGT. Van there on does TXQ or whatever that. So and he has a wide range of lightsabers. I haven't asked him yet for them because we get ours are just built to be indestructible. I mean, and everything can be replaced in it. Um, I did want to go your school. So you have one school, but I wanted to talk a little bit about when I was doing the research for this interview. I was not really surprised, but still surprised about the other schools like um, Quetzal Academy,
Mhm.
Liga Mexicana, and the amount of followers that they have online. And you guys have a lot of followers online as well. Is that how you get the word out about your school? What do you have to do to bring in students? That's always the hardest part to market. There's a lot of people that love Star Wars, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get out of whatever they're doing and come to your academy and learn how to fight with a lightsaber. What do you guys do specifically to market and bring more students in?
Okay, we are, of course, as the other academies in Mexico, creating content online. The thing is that we are in a very specific spot. San Luis Potosí, it is not a big city, but there is a lot of people who like Star Wars. As you mentioned before, you can love Star Wars, you can be a huge fan, you can have like 10, 12 lightsabers at home, but these guys are not going to join the academy just because they don't feel like doing sports. The idea that we have, it is that we try to approach to these geek guys and tell them, man, it would be very nice if you could do it. And the idea that we have, it is to the mission that we have, it is to uh, bring sport to every corner of the galaxy. So what we want to do is to make people start practicing some sports. Lightsaber is just excuse. In our classes, the class is 2 hours long. The first hour is just for physical
Yeah,
training.
physical training.
So during the first hour, you are going to suffer, you are going to run, you are going to jump,
Yeah,
to
right, right.
many things.
Lift weights,
Uh-huh.
like real training. We try to
Right, right.
do like,
You're gonna reduplicate the Jedi experience.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, most
Exactly.
certainly.
And during the second hour, the prize it is to use the lightsaber.
Yeah,
This
we
is the
focus
prize.
on the
Mhm,
technique.
mhm.
Like then you can learn about the history, about how to use a lightsaber, how to move it. Like, but also you gotta, in order for you to incorporate these moves, like to make them part of you, you gotta use your body. So yeah, in the second part, like you also have to keep moving, but now you have a lightsaber. Now you feel cool, and now you can like have a lightsaber on and be be amused by everything.
If this is a two-way discussion, so here's what I've learned through my years of doing this. The most France went this route for fitness. They nationalized the lightsaber to go along with epee, foil, and saber, and as a result, they have lots and lots of schools, and those schools start with youngsters. So where you and I are going at 14 and above, and I have to because I'm only once a week, and frankly, I'm too old to teach kids anymore, little kids. The French have discovered start them young, and every martial art does the same thing. In Taekwondo, especially, they start them young and they grow them up into the sport. And I
Mhm.
think in England, that is the model that the Silver Sabers do. They have whole groups of younger kids because they know if the younger kids like lightsaber, they'll stay, and as a result, they seem to have grown pretty well. Now, I wouldn't give that advice to anybody else, but that seems to be the ticket to getting the bigger schools that grow. If my recreation center would allow us to have another class day, I'd probably have a couple of my younger instructors do something with younglings, with younger kids. Me personally, I don't have the patience to do 8, 9, and 10-year-olds anymore. I love them, but I just don't have that kind of patience. I have enough on my hands with the 14-year-old on up to my 57-year-old. But that seems to be the most effective way of growing a school so that it's large. And so, just a piece of information I've picked up through the time, especially when you're in a place like you are. I'm in South Carolina, and I am in a nowhere place in South Carolina. I have exactly the same situation that you have, is that my population is limited, so it's harder to bring students in, but I'm all over the place socially. One of the things that we do is choreography. Does your school do choreography for events?
Yeah, yeah. That actually, when you asked the question, I thought like almost immediately about our choreographies. Like one way we get out there and show the people what are we doing is by choreographies, because we but we also don't just do it by ourselves. We like we tell our students to prepare something, and we gave them like spaces so where they can show what they're doing. So the people, when they see like our group doing a choreography, they don't see like the two teachers doing it, they see the students doing it, and they know like I could be one of them. So that's one way, like we went there and have more people to come and ask about the classes, because they were looking at people at their age like doing stuff they also could do like very easily. So that's one way we get a lot of people, and we also like the choreographies, because
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
we like that theatrical part of it. Like we don't have problems with it. Like we do a sport, obviously, but there's some performance to it. Let's remember, like we do the lightsaber because of a movie. So what's wrong with making this move?
Exact. Do you guys both wear costumes?
Sometimes, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, no problem.
I mean, I have a bunch of different costumes, and I look kind of silly sometimes when I have one of them that has little flashing lights on it. And I took that one to a TV show once. Um, do you have an actual choreography team, like a basic? Do you have a basic school choreography, or do you have to regenerate that every single time that you have an event coming up?
Okay, what we do have, it is a teacher who is specialized on that. He's a great fencer. He's over there. Hello, Frank. And he's just a great fencer. And when he was younger, he studied theater. So once we created some materials, and we had like the ideas, like the scripts, and every time that we are going to have a presentation, he prepares again the things, and he says, okay, we're going to do this, blah blah blah, prepare this,
Yeah.
and then we invite the students to try
Yeah.
to do something by themselves.
We don't like push them like you gotta go, but we tell them like there's this opportunity, like you want to go, and most of the people they know like they will love to go, and they're like, yeah, I want to show like my abilities, but we push them so they can do it right, and they don't hesitate at the moment. Like we also had like very young yeah, students go there and present things
Mhm,
in like a public of like hundreds of people,
mhm.
People
and
love when they're young and they're
yeah,
short and and
they're
possibly
very energetic and they go like
yeah yeah
yeah
right right exactly.
that's not so much.
And it is also been very interesting that people contact us and say, I'm getting married next year. Could you
Yeah,
please prepare for us a choreography? And we say, of course, why not?
yeah, we do those kind of things also, like it's a like some sort of like side quest we take, but
Right
yeah,
right right.
we also do those.
I've done two. I've prepared two couples for their weddings, and it was fun to do. Yeah, but I fully understand. I, I'm not sure where we are on time. So before I lose my time, I wanted to ask you about the Mexican League. Um, Obviously, up here, Saber Legion is really big with groups. They don't have schools, but they have groups in pretty much every state, and they have big tournaments that are regional. And the same thing with Lightspeed. And I think that TPLA is working on their second competition, so that's the French style. So
Mhm.
with any luck, I hope they get as big as the other two groups, and then we have more choices up here in the United States. The Mexican League, how many do you guys have? There's so many schools. So what I want to know is how many schools are in the Mexican League, and do you have organizations that are groups, sort of like the way Saber Legion does it? So it might not be a school, but it would be a group by a town or a city or something like that. Also plays in the Mexican League.
Okay,
Okay,
you
like
go, you go, you.
we'll go like from parts. Like first of all, like yeah, like Quetzal, Unite,
Mhm. Lord
uh,
Wolf,
Blood Wolf, Italy,
mhm. Tijuana Crew.
Tijuana, este,
There are
que-
some guys in Guadalajara too.
Guadalajara, Son Negro.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we have like 15, 20 academies that
Wow.
yeah, we go and meet like from different parts of Mexico, and some events they can go to some, and if they can't go like from to a particular event, they try to go to others. So we know each other. We
Mhm.
have talked to each other. Like most of the academies, like the lightsaber academies, we know each other,
Mhm.
and we stay in contact like in the Facebook like group of Liga Mexicana, and we also try to do these tournaments like almost almost every year we try to put out one big tournament like form the league. That is not just like for of one academy, and we work
Right.
like more than 3 or 4 academies, like to take care of that big tournament. But we put it all in the hands of one academy, and
So one academy is responsible for
for that year,
that competition for that year, and
yeah,
they do have to do all the legwork, the hotels,
yeah, but
the
we
place where
bring
the
them like all the help they need in the organization. Like we can provide the if the academy isn't big enough, we can provide the academy with judges for like for the spaces. Like we bring a lot of options, so we can
wow.
help each other out and take decisions like in a group. We try to ask the questions like to everyone, so we can all be involved in the process of the
Right, right.
and that leads
So is
me
it
to the
done by teams or by individuals? So
yeah
and
that leads me to the second question. Like we don't have like the a group that moves all the league, but we have different like different schools, and if in those schools like we compete as teams, but
okay,
we also like have our personal interests in each team. Like we all looking for winning the tournament, but we all help each other. Like we don't have any problem of any kind with our group, but we try to we like we have our colors in the moment of the tournament. Like you can see like, oh, those guys are from La Resistance, those guys are from Quetzal Academy, from Italy Kyber, etc., etc. But yeah,
is there a female part of that, or do the females compete with the guys?
the females compete with the guys. Like we try to do one female only tournament, and it was pretty good. But we also don't consider that we need to do another league like for the women. So they fight like in
Oh
the
yeah,
in the open tournament, and they fight like hard. Yeah,
oh
so
yeah, yeah. I've
they
only
have
got two female students. I'm afraid to fight both of them. They're
yeah.
half my size, and I'm short.
So yeah, we don't try to separate it, but we also like to them to have their own space.
Mhm.
So yeah, we do it like that.
Yeah, in the
So
previous
then,
tournament, sorry, it
go
was
ahead.
my wife who won the women's
The
tournament,
women's.
and during the Open, in her match with the actual champion of the tournament, there was a difference only of 1 point.
Oh wow, wow, that's impressive. I'm a believer that the females, you have to find the right lightsaber sport, but like in the French style, I think the females can fight as well. And I think in light speed, they can fight as well.
Mhm.
Certainly, what I do with my own school, the females fight just as well. So it's good to see that it's a co-ed sport and that the gals are just as well trained and fight just as hard, if not harder, than the fellas. Yeah. So when you do a big tournament, I'm guessing you just finished the tournament, didn't you?
It was
Not too long ago.
last year.
Last year, September.
And what's the attendance like? Is it a lot, like 50 to 100?
Okay, we were supposed to be around 60, but at the end, there was a very big academy here in Mexico who couldn't attend the event because of soft problems. So it was around 20, 30.
30
Yeah.
competitors.
Right, but that's pretty typical even for regional tournaments up
Mhm.
here, where you'll get 30 fighters, and that 30 fighters, if you do exotic weapons like lightsaber staffs and pikes and crossblades, and then you have regular standard sabers, and then maybe you have classes like old guys like me in one class, and so on. That's a day or two of hard fighting.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. We also it was like there were like 30 people, but there were people like from all around Mexico.
Mhm.
That was the thing that we in our academy we participate like 5, 6 competitors.
Mhm.
Like we didn't bring as much as we could, because we were like doing all the work in the tournament. But yeah, it was like pretty cool to see some other academies come and know our styles. And also when we got the opportunity to go out and fight with another academy, we try to do it. Like,
Did you guys fight?
Yeah, we do.
yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's hard to give it up, isn't it? There's nothing better than being, yeah. But even when you call yourself an instructor, it's hard not to fight. Um, I fought recently up in Virginia, and it was great. I got to say, a female beat me, and so be it. And I'm not ashamed of it. And she went off to do pretty good stuff within Saber Legion as well. Um, I don't know where we are for time because we lost one part of this. So I am going to ask for Meso to send me a time. I got to say, it has been an absolute pleasure. And I'm sorry that I ask questions like a machine gun, like an instructor. But what you guys are doing down there is so interesting, and you're coordinated. And I just admire that Mexico has a bunch of lightsaber school and is holding a national tournament. And you're talking to the French, and now you're picking up a French style, so you're talking about going international. I think that's impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
I think we have a lot to learn from you. I certainly hope that you guys can learn something from all those of us up here in north of you. All right, so I'm gonna kind of wind this down. I don't know if the nerd goddess is listening to it. I can see her in the background.
I'm always
there she
funny.
is. There she is. I didn't know what time we had. Listen, fellas, I really
You've been going for just over an hour now.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping you'd keep the time on me because I could talk forever. Again, thank you for letting me interview you both. I mean, it was an absolute honor on my part.
It's also an honor to be here, like, for sure.
All right, Mrs. It's all yours.
Thank you so much. Yes, Tony, I messaged. Like, I wasn't sure how to get it to you or distract you too much. But
well, what I did is I put this on full screen because it was easier for me to see. And then I took it off when I thought, okay, I went a little over an hour, so let me look to see if she's trying to get a hold of me.
And we have, if you've never used StreamYard before, you get a private chat for those of you who are part of the stream. And so in the private chat, I said, go down 40 minutes, just a time check. No, I was like, oh well. I was like, I just let
I'm
it
so
go.
sorry.
But you were enjoying talking to them when you're like it's like shop talk for you guys, and so it's something you guys are passionate about and really excited. And we have people watching that are interested. So I was happy to just kind of let it going. So thank you, Martin and Omar, for coming on.
Yeah, they were wonderful, and they ran into a buzzsaw. Question after question after question after question. But there was so much to cover, and I wanted to find about every aspect of what they're doing.
It's almost like you need a part two. I feel like you need a part two.
Well, I mean, to run into instructors of that quality, and what we need more of them. We need more lightsaber schools. We need more lightsaber organizations. We need different type of styles. The international group that you're in with me, it's kind of a start of that.
I need to actually rejoin it after my Facebook got hacked.
Oh, that's right. All right, I'll invite you back in.
You'll find me. Yeah, Mesa's Facebook got hacked and had to open a whole new one. I lost everything from the previous. I mean, any important stuff I had saved, so that's all that really matters.
Yeah,
When it
it's not
comes
a
to like
group
photos and
without the
videos of
nerd
my
goddess.
kids. Thank you. I need like a sign now that says that. Bumper sticker.
Have Van print you up a T-shirt.
You hear me, Van? If you're in the audience, I'm not gonna. Even if you're not, I'm gonna hold you to it. All right. Thank you so much, Martine and Omar, for coming on the show. Really enjoyed that interview. If you guys are watching and want to find out more info on it, I did put links in the chat. But if you're watching the upload or just didn't want to scroll back, I do have links to, I believe, their Facebook and their YouTube in the description below. All right. So I did fix the flow of the show during the interview. So please enjoy Charred Fool. All right, that was your flow
That's
of
the way
show.
to do it.
Yeah,
That's the way to do it. You want to make something better? Put a dog and be out.
I
in the
know it was so cute. So any of those who are interested in Charred Fool, I did put his profile into the link of the description and here in the chat. Go check out Charred Fool. He's been a flow on our show before as well. Always really enjoy watching some of his stuff. And then when you got a dog in there, you can't help but just love it anyways. That's just how it is.
Wow.
Uh,
I have Chihuahuas. I'm not. They hate my lightsabers. They run and hide.
I'm not surprised. All right, everybody. So we have 1,836 subs right now. That means we're only 64 away from doing our next giveaway. So make sure to share. And Steven here in the chat says, I see no burnt hair. How is he a charred fool? Very, very funny. I'm not sure who it is, but Gato Dorado keeps saying like Martin and Omar are best couple and stuff. I see him giving a thumbs up, and I'm assuming it's like a friend of theirs. And so I see them commenting throughout and asking some fun questions. And hashtag resistance's men are strong and sexy. I wanted to share that just because I thought they'd get a kick out of that too. Because when you're in an interview, sometimes you don't always notice the comments or the questions that come up. And so when there's funny stuff like that, I like to point it out. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. Van should be back next week. And keep an eye out for who's coming on. Next month, a little over a month from now, we actually have the Chris Bartlett, who's like the most recent C-3PO and like Mandalorian and stuff like that. He will actually be on the show. So I'm very excited for that one. All right, guys, have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you later. Thank you, Tony, for coming on with me.
All right. You're more than welcome anytime.
All right. Bye, guys.